Hello guys, it's Dmitry here, and in this tutorial I would like to discuss about another topic, and it's kind of related to functions and methods, but it's a bit controversial one because many people think that like this functionality was introduced like recently essentially. When I say recently, it's when ESLint 6 was released, and essentially it's already like ages ago, around 5 or 6 years ago, but still it's quite recent, right? Because like JavaScript itself, it's quite mature language, right? It's 25 years old nowadays. So anyway, back on track, I guess. So I'm going to delete all of that, and I'm going to say, I'm going to type, I guess, const show age equal so guys, what is it? Essentially, this one, it's another way how we can define functions in JavaScript, but it's a really big but. You essentially cannot use this functionality in pure Node environment, Node.js environment. So I don't know, guys, if you heard about you know libraries like React.js, which is essentially a front-end library. So like these software developers or React.js software developers, they utilize this kind of functionality really extensively. Even myself, as a front-end developer, I mean, I'm a full-stack developer essentially, but I'm working with the front-end, of course, too, and I predominantly work with React.js. And in my case, I really like this kind of approach, or like this functionality. We call them, um, how exactly we call them actually? It's a error fat error function. So you can see it's a fat one, right? So, but anyway, idea is he defining the name of the function, then the actual brackets where you can pass parameters, and as always, this is the actual body of the function. And in order to call this function, what we usually do, we call it like that, right? And so idea is this, it's like a binder. It's binding to this function. Do you remember, guys, I told you about the keyword this. So, and I told you that like if you specify it inside of the object, then this word is going to bind or bound to this object, to the object where it's specified. So, and here is kind of similar situation. You're going to bind it, like if you're going to use this kind of approach in case of functions, then you're going to bind this to this function. Simple as that. So guys, I just would like to also to show you that like the original approach, how you define the function, like a standard approach, function, and then show age, right? So, and essentially like why it's arguing, why VS Code is arguing, because like we have the same name, right? Okay, let's just say 2, 1, and 1. it's also arguing about that. By the way, I think maybe it's not going to argue. Okay, it's not arguing. Anyway, so there are two ways, right? This is the way. This is the like original way how we define like originally historically functions in JavaScript, and this is the kind of new way, right? And again, the way how we call this is the new way, and this is the original way, right? Which is just you just defining the actual name of the function. You just type the name of the function with a bracket. That's it, and you're done. But the idea is the same, right? It's still a function, and it's still you can pass multiple parameters to this function, to these functions. So yeah, and also guys, one more thing. If you define an object, let's define object and call it person really quickly. Then first name, it's first, it's the first feature, it's the first parameter, right? So, and I called Dmitry, and then age 32, right? So, and now if I define like show age function, so okay, what I would like to say is here never use this kind of approach. Why? Because if you decide to use this, then it's not going to work, you know? Do you remember, as I told you, you can define this inside, like even at the moment, right? When you use the standard approach, and then you specify, for instance, you would like to grab first name, right, of this object. Then you specify this dot first name. But in case of if you use like this approach, and you can say that, right, it's not going to work, because you know this is the trick about these functions, this kind of approach. The binding is not working when you use it inside of the object. So be careful with that, guys. So I just would recommend you like just use it like, you know, in the libraries when you just, you know, developing as a front-end developer, like in case of React.js. Yes, this kind of functionality, it's really neat way to write you know, complex logic in case of front-end. But on the back end, probably, you know, it's still better to stick with a like standard or historically like proven approach. Maybe in the future we will come up, or like, you know, like future Java generation will come up with new approaches like how to define stuff. But at the moment, I believe like this is the way to go, just using the standard like defining of the functions. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you know, it did make sense, and I hope you know, like if in the future you will see this kind of approach, or like you will see when like the defining, when the function was defined this way, then you will understand, all right, this is the like, it's a new way how you can define a function. So, and that's how it works, right? And if you call in that, you have to bind this to this function, right? So pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again, and please subscribe, please like this video if you liked it, and if you think it's useful for you. And I will see you next time, guys, in the next video. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.